Growing up can be tricky. People are constantly finding themselves, what makes them unique, what defines their identity. And here's the thing, we never truly do finish finding ourselves. There is no end game, no finish line, nothing. However, if we keep exploring ourselves and keep asking questions about our identity, we can understand ourselves a little better than before. At least, that's what I hope to do with this podcast. Hi, my name is Sage, and I guess you could say I've had some identity issues myself. See, I'm biracial, which throws a wrench in my journey to find myself and establish my identity. Race can tend to play a big role with how we identify. Racial identity is confusing, even when you have one race alone. I want to understand and unpack my identity. How did growing up biracial or mixed impact me in my childhood? How does it impact others? I've always felt between two worlds. My mother is Korean and my father is Caucasian, making me what we call Wasian. I grew up in the US, far away from my mother's side of the family who lived in, you guessed it, Korea. We moved a lot when I was in elementary school, from house to house, suburb to suburb. The thing that always remained constant was that I was surrounded by mostly white girls. No complaints, I made many good friends, but I always felt a little different, like I never quite fit in. It also didn't help that I never saw any girls that looked like me in the media I took in. The Disney princesses I saw were white, aside from Jasmine and Mulan. My favorite princess was Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. I remember always wishing I had blonde hair and blue eyes, wishing to look whiter than I was.
I remember when I was younger, my mom used to straighten my hair because people would say, like, she needs to look the part, and and my grandma wanted it that way and everything. And every year for my birthday and Christmas and, like, random gifts and, like, random things that are on sale, my aunts will get me straighteners. And they, like, think that, like, I don't have one because I don't use it and they don't ever see my hair straightened. It's not that. Like, I have them all. There's a whole collection. I have, like, them all in my closet in my bathroom. And I'm just like, really? Like, that was, like, one thing. And it's, like, I don't know, it's so subtle, like, the way they do that, but, like, they're telling me, like, that's what they say to me, like, all the time. They're like, wow, has your hair gotten bigger? And, like, sometimes when I was younger, it was a lot worse.
That's my friend Molly.
I'm mixed with, like, basically just black and white is what people like to say. But if you want to get into, like, ethnicity-wise, it's just, like, Irish, Scottish, French, and then Jamaican and Haitian.
Molly and I have both felt at some point that we wished we looked a little more like our white side. For Molly, the pressure to look more white came from her family.
Okay, so my grandma, she used to sing to me, like, all the time when I was growing up, White Christmas. Like, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, and kept singing that to me in hopes I'd become white. Like, and that's what she used to think all the time, and I don't know, she likes to pretend that she's totally fine with me being black, but I think if it was her way, she would definitely have me straight hair, blonde, blue eyes, pale as ever.
I wanted to look more white because that's all I ever saw as pretty, portrayed in movies, TV shows, magazines, and stories. I even pushed away my Korean heritage. When my mom tried to teach me Korean as a preschooler, I told her I didn't need to because I live in America and I don't need to speak Korean, only American. Now, obviously, not everyone shares the same experience. In fact, my friend Kaya never felt like she wanted to look more like a certain race.
My dad is white. He grew up Jewish, and my mom is Native American. She grew up on the Navajo reservation, so I'm just half Navajo, half white. Contentness with my appearance comes from a very important belief in the Navajo tradition, which is this word hajone or hajot, which means, it's not very easily translated because it's like a vastness of beauty. That's how I would describe it. And it's like beauty. There's like hajot, which means beauty is on me, like, and it, like, there's this phrase, and I am beauty, or beauty surrounds me, and beauty is just like falls off of me because it's just like you're so full of beauty. So I think, and my mom would always sing us this song that was about beauty, this word, hijol, and it just was like instilled, and she taught us about that, so it was just like never really wanted to change myself to be accepted by my white relatives, because being accepted from my mom, just like, and knowing like her, just being loved from her was enough.
I feel like had I seen more girls who looked like me growing up, I would have felt better about how I looked and who I was. 2 years ago, when I heard that the main character of the popular teen rom-com, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, was half Korean, half white, I was ecstatic. This was the first time in my 13 to 14 years of my life that I saw someone in a movie who I could actually identify with and relate to.
One time, I don't know why I remember this, but I was at this playground, and this little boy came over to me, and he said, "You look like Pocahontas." And then I went home and I watched Pocahontas, because I rewatched it, because that kid reminded me of it, and I don't know why, but yeah, I guess I seen her. And then there was also my grandmother, my Nellie. She bought me an American Girl doll. And her name's Kaya. It's spelled exactly how my name is spelled. And she's Native American, not the same tribe, but still, like, it was kind of cool.
It was really hard finding that. I didn't find that maybe... Okay, like, all right, that movie on Disney, The Game Plan, that came out, and it was, like, with Madison Pettis, or whatever her name is, on it, and she was mixed. And that was the first girl that I ever saw with curly hair like mine, big, and, like, a big smile. Like, that was it. I was like, wow, I see me. And it was really just Disney shows that did it for me. Like, most times, it would just be white families, and that was upsetting for me. I don't know. There was, like, the show Shake It Up with Zendaya Coleman, and she was mixed. So I was like, oh, I can relate. Her dad's black, my dad's black, her mom's white, my mom's white. Like, we're, like, the same person. And, yeah, that was about it. Like, there was never really a lot of role models for mixed kids like me. Lack of representation, like, kind of screwed me over a little bit because I didn't get to figure it out.
According to the American Psychological Association, studies have found that, as a result of the small population and lack of media representation, multiracial youth may feel that they do not have a multiracial community and lack role models to help them understand their mixed identity. The more representation mixed kids see, the better they can understand their identity. Unfortunately, when I was still growing as a very young, impressionable kid, there weren't too many other mixed people to be seen, therefore nobody to identify with. But it wasn't just the media that was a little confusing when it came to looking for guidance. Little things in my day-to-day life seemed to be affected by my race and what I identified with. Encounters I had with friends and strangers made me question my identity and how I looked or came across. I would receive the same question countlessly from other people I didn't even know.
What are you?
What are you?
What are you?
What are you?
It got a little tiresome as they played the game of guessing what ethnicity I was. My friends didn't really help either. Sometimes my dad would show up and they'd have a shocked look on their face. "I forgot you were kind of white." Or, "I thought he'd be, more Asian," they'd say. I don't think there was any malicious intent there, and that was just genuinely how they felt. But it made me feel more confused about myself. I felt a little bit like the token Asian of my friend group. My friends were surprised when I packed a regular turkey sandwich instead of something quote-unquote more Asian. I couldn't make white people jokes with them, even though I'm white.
How are you going to write off, like, that whole entire side of me?
But saying I was Korean didn't sit right with me either. I didn't feel like I was Korean enough to call myself that. I didn't take part in Korean culture, I didn't eat much traditional Korean food, and I didn't see my mom's side of the family often anymore. On phone calls with them, I could only say hello with an awful American accent. When I was younger, I had pushed away my Korean side. As a result, I couldn't communicate with my mother's side of the family. I felt embarrassed I couldn't talk to my family. I was conflicted because others didn't recognize me as white, but I couldn't quite recognize myself as Korean either. It wasn't just people who wanted to box me into one singular race. Standardized tests did too.
I always felt like I had to be fitted into, like, a box, like, all the time. And I thought I always had to choose. Like, even on standardized tests when they'd ask you, like, are you African American, white, Asian, like, whatever, and I'd be like, I'm like all, like, I'm like both. Can we do that? No, you're like other.
I always fill out Native American just because, one, would give me scholarships for college as a minority, and two, because I don't want to forget that side because I'm so immersed in my white family and everything.
I remember the first time I had seen those 8 boxes that gave me the choice to check white, Hispanic or Latino, Black or African American, Native American or American Indian, Asian/Pacific Islander, or other. I had no idea which one to check. I had to ask the teacher, who told me to check the box that said Asian. So I did for the rest of my time in school until this year, my sophomore year. It was when I took the 2020 Youth Climate Survey for my school that I saw the option biracial, which filled me with glee. They added biracial.
Yes,
I was
that.
so happy. I was like, that's me.
That's me. Yes,
Yeah.
I know. I was like so excited. I was like, yes, finally.
I had always felt a little dishonest when I checked off as Asian and felt like the box I was checking wasn't really correct until now. When I was talking to others about which box they checked on the tests, they agreed that it was a little confusing.
For me, I didn't feel comfortable saying that I was white or black. Like, I never picked one. And I still don't feel comfortable picking one. It's just kind of both.
It's always been, which do you identify with more? Seeing someone as one race more than the other when I am both races. Like Molly said, I wouldn't be able to give you an answer. I shouldn't have to choose one over the other. It's taken some time for me to realize this and accept this, and I think I still sometimes feel like I'm neither. But hey, I'm getting there. Now that I'm finally seeing more people in the media who are multiracial, such as famous actress and singer Zendaya, and the character Laura Jean from To All the Boys I've Loved Before, I'm realizing I'm meeting more and more multiracial people in real life as well. 1 in 7 U.S. infants, 14%, were multiracial or multi-ethnic in 2015, nearly triple the share in 1980, according to a Pew Research Center analysis of Census Bureau data. The number of people in the multiracial community is growing rapidly, but we still only make up about 2.3% of the U.S.'s population. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not white or Korean enough to identify with either one. I am both of those races. Meeting more multiracial people, though they may not be the same combination of races as me, has made it easier for me to sort out who I am. With the increasing amount of multiracial babies, who will eventually be where I stand right now, I hope the future accepts them with an open mind and open arms, maybe even providing them with the guidance I lacked to allow them to figure out who they are.